What if refusing help wasn't humble? It was selfish. I know, that one stings, but stay with me, because there's a word for somebody who only gives and never receives. It's not generous, it's being a dam. And dams stop flows. In this video, I'm going to show you why always being the helper is quietly exhausting you, how receiving is a gift to the person giving as well as to you, and then 6 specific shifts that will assist you opening up to help without feeling like you failed or are less. Let's go. I'm Donnielle Carter, certified wellness coach for nearly 20 years, and you are the person I want to talk to today. You know who you are. You show up, you give freely, you help without being asked, and you never keep score. But that moment, the moment someone tries to do the same for you, no, I'm fine. I've got it, don't worry about me. And you think that's the right answer. Today, I'm going to challenge that. Let me ask you something. When you help someone you love, really help them, how does it feel? There's a warmth to it, right? An expansion, that sense of, yes, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. You feel connected, purposeful, like something bigger than you just moved through you. Hold on to that feeling, because here's what I want you to consider. Help is not just a nice thing to do. Help is energy. Contribution is energy. And energy is not meant to only move in one direction. Think about breathing in and out. You don't just exhale for the rest of your life. That doesn't work. Think about the ocean, tight in, tight out. And what about a river? If you dam it up on one side, what happens? Pressure, stagnation, eventually something breaks. Now, think about what happens in your life when you only push energy out and never let it back in. Same thing. You start to feel it as exhaustion. Then a quiet resentment. Then that low-grade frustration you can't quite name. The why does no one show up for me the way I show up for them feeling. And the truth, they probably tried to. You just wouldn't open the door. Why do we do this? Why do the most generous people struggle so deeply with receiving? Because at a very deep level, even if you've never said it out loud, there's a belief running underneath all of that giving. The belief is that needing help means something went wrong. It means I didn't plan well enough, work hard enough, hold it together well enough. It means I failed. So instead of receiving, you grip. You push through. You say, I'm fine. Until your body, quite literally, forces you to stop. Here's what I want you to hear. That is not humility. That is ego. And I say that with caring and concern because I lived it. What not receiving really says is, I am the giver. That is my identity. And if I receive, I lose that identity. But here's a question worth pondering. When you refuse to let someone help you, do they get to feel that warmth you feel when you help them? Nope. You've kept that from them. Now, this is not theory for me. I experienced it. For nearly 10 years of my life, I was the giver. Not because anyone asked me to. I just was because I could. If someone I loved needed something and I had it, it was theirs. No question, no hesitation. I gave with gleeful joy. And I remember one year my cousin's oven even died the day before American Thanksgiving, not the day after, the day before. And I just handled it. new stove, delivered in time, because that's just what you do, right? That was my normal. And honestly, I enjoyed it. It felt good. It felt like me. It warmed my universe. Then life shifted significantly. Financially, things changed in a big way. The kind of change that's disorienting. And for someone who had been the helper for a long time, a bit humiliating, well, I thought. Those same cousins knew my situation, and they wanted to give to me. My first instinct was absolutely not. To push it and them away. I'm fine, I'll figure it out. Because in my mind, accepting their help meant the giver had become the receiver. And that felt like a step down. But I genuinely needed it. So I let them. And what happened next surprised me. Their universes lit up. And I'm not being poetic. I watched it happen. The joy, the warmth, she's finally really letting us in. It was real and it was palpable. And something cracked open in me in the best way. Because I realized this is exactly what I had been feeling every time I helped them or others. And I had been keeping that from them for years every time I said no. Now, this wasn't them paying me back, and that's not how I'd given, and that's not how they gave. There was no transaction to it. It was just contribution flowing in the direction it was needed. And it deepened us, our bond, our trust, our connection to each other. And for the first time in a long time, I genuinely felt part of a flow. Not the engine of it, part of it. And that's when I truly understood receiving isn't weakness, it's participation. Let's look at what happens to your body when you live in permanent helper mode, because this isn't just emotional, it's physical. When you are always holding everything up, your nervous system treats that as a baseline. There is always something to manage, someone to help, something to keep together, and your body stays in that gear. Over time, that shows up as exhaustion that sleep just doesn't fix, a low-grade irritability that you can't explain, tension in your body you've accepted. That's just who you are now. And if you keep not receiving, eventually your body stops asking nicely. And that is when illness creeps in and you are forced to stop. And one more thing I want to name here because it's important. Giving with a superior attitude isn't giving. If somewhere underneath your generosity there is a quiet sense of, I have what you need and you don't. Or if you're keeping score of when and who you gave to, that is not contribution. That is a power dynamic wearing the costume of generosity. Real giving has no hierarchy. It's just energy moving where it's needed. And if you are capable of giving that way, freely, genuinely, with no strings, then you are absolutely capable of receiving the same way. The energy is identical. You just have to turn around and let it in. Now, here are 6 shifts to open up to receiving. And these are not feel-good suggestions. These are specific things you can do. Number 6, you don't have to be in crisis to ask for help. This one is important. A lot of people wait until they are completely underwater before they'll reach out. I did. As if the need has to be big enough to qualify. As if there's some threshold you have to hit before help is something you're allowed to ask for. There isn't. You can ask for help when things are just a little heavy. When you're tired. When something would simply be easier with another set of hands. Or another perspective. Help is not reserved for emergencies. Waiting until you're desperate to ask means you've been carrying something alone far longer than you needed to. And you will exhaust yourself in the meantime. Practice asking before you're drowning. It's not weakness or neediness. That's wisdom. That's knowing yourself well enough to catch it early. The universe doesn't require you to be broken to receive from it. Neither do the people who love you. Tip number 5. Notice the resistance before you act on it. The next time someone offers help, even something small, a door held, a task taken off your plate, and your first instinct is to say, no. Pause. Don't judge it. Just notice it. Name it. There it is, that reflex of refusal. Because here's what that pause actually does. It creates a gap between the habit and the action. And in that gap, lives a choice. The refusal is automatic. The receiving is a choice. And every time you make that choice consciously, even once, you are beginning to rewire what feels natural to you. You are teaching your nervous system a new normal. Awareness before action changes everything. Tip number 4, ask yourself about role reversal. Ask, if someone I love needed this exact help right now, would I give it freely? If yes, then your refusal to receive is not about worth. It's about identity. And here's where it gets honest. There is a part of the chronic giver that is quietly attached to being the one who has it together, to be the one who gives, the one who doesn't need. And that attachment, as generous as it can look on the outside, is still ego. It's an identity you're protecting, a role that you've decided is yours. The question is whether that role is serving you or just comforting you. Because identity can be released. And what's on the other side of releasing it is a lot more freedom than you expect. Tip number 3, ask out loud. From people, from the universe, from whatever you believe moves through life. Asking for help is not an admission of failure. It is self-knowledge. It is saying, I know what I need, and I trust that it's okay to need it. If you are asking of the universe alone in the room, I still suggest saying it out loud. There is something that shifts and expands in your universe when you hear the words outside of your head. And this is one of the most dynamic things a person can do. Tip number 2, stop making yourself a one-way street. Energy moves in and out. It flows. And when you only push it out, you exhaust yourself. And I will say this plainly. You make yourself useless to the very people you want to help. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Maybe a cliche, but it's also true in its physics. And the universe, that intelligent, responsive flow, is constantly trying to give back to you. Resources, people, moments, support. But when you've positioned yourself as someone who only gives, you've essentially told the universe that you are not a receiver. And it honors that, which means you are actively working against the very flow you're trying to contribute to. Create the space to receive. Let energy come back in. That is not weakness. That is how the flow works. Tip number 1, let people have the experience of giving to you. This was the reframe that changed things for me personally. When you let someone help you, you are not burdening them. You are giving them the exact feeling you love having when you help others. Purposeful, connected, expanded. And remember how we started? What if refusing help wasn't humble, but actually selfish? This is what I meant. When you shut down someone's offer to give to you, you are not protecting them from an inconvenience. You are denying them an experience that feels genuinely good, that expands their universe. You are keeping the warmth for yourself and calling it selflessness. You are not the only one who deserves to feel that expansion. Let them in. That is not weakness. That is the flow completing in action. You are allowed to need things. You are allowed to not have it all handled. You are allowed to say, yes, I could use some help right now. And when you do, when you genuinely open to that flow you've been generating for everyone else in your life, it comes back to you. Not as payment, not because you've earned it or because anyone owes you. It allows the universe to do what it has always been trying to do. Move through you. In and out. You are not a dam. You're a river. And rivers don't just push forward. They receive what feeds them so they can keep flowing. You have spent so long, my friend, filling everyone else's cup. And it's okay, it's good to let someone fill yours. Thank you for being here today and pushing play. If this video contributed to you in any way, please subscribe, like, and share it with someone else who gives everything and keeps nothing. And check out this video right here for more life-changing tips and tricks. And until we play again, keep creating a life that inspires you every day to live it. I'll see you soon.